Hello and welcome to another episode of the Punk Rock Health Podcast. Today I'm joined once again by Debbie Carrol, counsellor, therapist and RTT practitioner. In this episode we'll be discussing counselling, hypnotherapy, rapid transformation therapy, social anxiety, panic attacks and what it's like to actually go and see a therapist. Join us as we get honest and personal about therapeutic journeys and our experiences. I really hope you enjoy it. All right, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Debbie, it's lovely to have you back.
It's nice to be here, actually. Yeah, it's nice to be in your space this time.
Welcome to my weird daytime TV studio I've set up in my house. Thanks for coming back. I'm really interested in what you do. We touched on it in the last podcast that we did with you and Tom, that you became a counsellor and a therapist after everything that happened in that journey. And I'm just really interested in what you do as a counsellor and a therapist. So I've seen on your website you do a bit of hypnotherapy as well, so I don't know anything about that. So
Yes, I do. Yeah, so I'm a counsellor, hypnotherapist and RTT practitioner.
Right.
So RTT is a method of hypnotherapy that was brought together by Marissa Peer, who's an amazing therapist, and it's she's pulled sort of all good bits out of other therapies, put it all together and came up with this new theory of hypnotherapy, and it's brilliant.
Lovely.
Because you get to the root of the problem really, really quickly. So it's sort of like counselling, but your subconscious mind is wide open, because you get someone into hypnotherapy which is just being really relaxed. And then you ask them to go to the root, the reason, the cause of whatever their issue is. And because their subconscious mind is wide open, they're able to say.
Wow, so they just kind of quickly find the knot, as it were.
So, and most of the things that cause us pain, anxiety, fear, come from way, way, way back when we're children and we are sort of not able to rationalise.
Yes.
So, for instance, if you were, you think I always behave that way, and I don't know why, then it may be because when you were age 2 or 3, you heard a row between your mum and dad, and they might have said, we were all right until we had the kids. And then you give yourself a sort of label, because it's like, everything's my fault.
You carry that forward.
And you can carry that forward, and you don't really know that you're doing that.
Yeah.
But somewhere in there you've got a limiting belief that,
that's just got you.
Yeah, that's just got you. And but anyway, with RTT you can sort that out.
Wow.
So
that's really interesting. So if you were to want to go for RTT, would you need to be brave? Would you need to be brave enough to look at it? Do you get some people that are like, I don't want that out. I don't want to see that. I can't face that.
Yeah,
you know?
And I also go, but it's not always about, trauma.
Childhood trauma, yeah.
It sort of is, but trauma's different to different people. So trauma's not always about, something awful. Trauma can be someone said something and it's really gone in and upset you.
Yeah, even things that perhaps you've rationalised since, they're still in. I think I had a bit of that. I saw a lady for a bit business coaching, but it swiftly turned into, there's something in my history that's a limiting belief. And, I sort of come back and had to unpack it and had to be like, I knew this about my life and I rationalised it, and I thought, I understand why this happened. I understand how this happened. I didn't realise it made me think that I was fundamentally unlovable. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't realise that I was carrying this like low worth, and it just back from that.
That's exactly it. It's because that's at a subconscious level, and we can know something at a conscious level, and we can sort it out. We can talk about it. We can know it, we can even push through it. However, if it's still there in your subconscious, it's always going to be that
bubbling
thing
up
that you have to push through.
Yeah, bubbling up in the subconscious manifests itself in so many strange ways, you know. I had for a long time recurring dreams about certain stuff. Drama school, I had recurring dreams about drama school, real unfinished feelings about what I went through during that time, what I did with what I learned, which might not have been enough in my opinion, you know what I mean? And like feelings of guilt and feelings of I could have tried harder and it should have been this and it should have been that, you know. And I kept having recurring nightmares that I was at drama school and I'm going, I've got a job, I can't be here, I've already done this degree, I can't do it again. You know, like, so, and, you know, I guess if you'd asked me, I would have never have said, oh, I've got some drama school hang-ups, but I kept dreaming about it, so obviously
I know
there was some stuff in there, you know, until I unpicked, you know.
And that's it, really. And the reason that I decided to train in RTT was because I love counselling. You know, I really do, and I do think that there's, you know, it's really got its place. And I think most therapy is about a relationship. It's about being able to open up, being able to talk to someone, feeling comfortable. Yeah. So, you know, it's not because I don't think that that's a good method of therapy, but I was seeing a lot of people with crippling anxiety and really bad self-esteem problems, and I just thought that, you know, there's got to be a quicker way. There's
got to be something to break this spell. Effectively.
And that's when I came across that.
So it was counselling first for you.
That
was the journey.
I trained as a counsellor, like after the stuff that happened with Tom, and got a job as a support worker in a mental health team, and I loved that, and I did sort of a lot of training within that role, and then I decided to do the counselling training. So I used to do that in my own time, and it took 5 years to qualify.
It's a long process to qualify as a counsellor, isn't it?
And then I've done sort of add-ons along the way, did family therapy, and lots of modalities. Solution focused therapy, which is great too. So all of that, and then so now I just work privately. I left the NHS last year, and that's when I started looking into, like, you know, what else can I do to help people a bit quicker.
Fantastic. So you're finding a lot of people are coming with anxiety, fear problems. Is that a bit of an epidemic at the minute?
Absolutely. And like you say, self-worth and self-esteem, and sort of underneath it all, it's that we don't feel like we're good enough. You know,
recurring.
So we've got this. We end up with this crippling anxiety of, like, I can't do that. Yeah, and it manifests itself in all kinds of different ways. And I guess with the RTT, once you've kind of cracked it open, regardless of the top end, the surface end of the manifestation, I guess you get to the root of it, and it kind of helps resolve that. So you get, with that, you get to the root of it. You get normally, so we use regression. So obviously they're going back and they're looking, like you said, do you need to be brave? Not really, because you're not reliving something.
You're just not there.
You're reviewing something to understand, and, you know, make it's a safe environment, because you're with someone that understands and will be able to, whatever comes up, you deal with. So you do that. Normally go to about 3 scenes, and then you get the client to work out what the connections are and why that's connected to how you feel now, what's holding you back now. And then you get them to realise that actually you've been carrying that about with you for years and years, but is it relevant? Is it even true? It's just, you know, something that you decided to label yourself with when you were a child, and it's not relevant to you being a beautiful, lovable adult. You know, it's not
something you just carry around. And I think, it seems to be that, you know, the more you think something, the deeper the pathway, right? So do you find that once you've done this initial session, do they come back with the same? Do you have to do it a couple of times for it to set in, or does the pathway kind of shift very early? Or
so we normally say 1 to 3 sessions, depending on what it is. And there are, obviously there are deep-rooted issues to deal with. So sometimes, I mean, if it was for smoking or losing weight, 1 to 3 sessions. If it was for, it came up and there was abuse there or whatever, you'd probably need a few more sessions.
Right on. Yeah. And do you kind of sometimes hit it in tandem if something comes up like abuse? Are you like, okay, let's have a couple of talking therapy sessions, let's have a couple of counselling sessions?
We can do that.
Kind of
definitely
pull that apart. Yeah.
And sometimes people like to do it the other way around. Some people like to come and, like I say, build up a relationship.
Yeah.
And then feel safe with you, and then do the deep stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely a magic in the relationship.
Yeah.
Definitely magic in trust.
Yeah.
And I think often, with our friends, we feel like there are people we can talk to out there or whatever, but there's something magical about with the therapist that's their role. You don't have to feel like, oh, I'm putting all my stuff on you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and opinions as well. Sometimes you're sitting with friends and they love you, but you're like, oh, I don't want to, and I don't want them to have to feel bad about me.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to have a safe space, basically, because that's with a therapist that you don't get that. You don't get their opinions. You just get what you need.
Yeah.
Which is a safe space for you to be able to explore what's going on for you.
Absolutely. I think it was because I'd done the counselling level 2, step 1. The thing that kind of got me interested was this kind of the understanding of the term being there for someone, and what that actually means. And like your therapist is there for you, in that moment, and really what it means to be there for someone and how to do that. Yeah. Is the sort of one of the first things you try and learn is just how to sit with somebody in the safe space and just be there for them to just open up or not. And there's a kind of magic in that.
Yeah, there is, and it's hard at the beginning, isn't it? When I don't know if you found that.
Yeah.
But I used to. I remember when I was doing my training, I'd be like, I want to jump in there. Yeah. I want to try and fix that for you. Yeah. I don't want to just sit here and listen.
I've got advice and opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's really hard to do.
Yeah. I struggled with feeling like, am I being effective? And it took me a little while to see the magic in just letting it happen, just being there for someone else.
Absolutely.
Whatever that meant to them, not what it meant to you, There's definitely a magic in that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I worry that actually there's a lot of different ways you can train as a counsellor and as a therapist. And it seems like some ways are more robust than others. I don't know if you've spotted this when you're looking at different avenues of training, because I worry that some people, they go and see a therapist and it doesn't work for them and they never go back. Yeah. And I always think, gosh, it might have been, that the person wasn't the right therapist for you.
Sometimes you're just not the right fit for someone.
Yeah.
You're not. And I think you do need to feel comfortable. So, I would always say, and I'd always say at the end of a first session, how do you feel? Do you feel comfortable with me?
Yeah.
And now, if they're like,
maybe,
obviously, maybe they're not.
Yeah.
And you always give them that option. There's lots of therapists out there, lots of great therapists, and you will find a fit with someone.
Yeah, empower them to kind of find that fit.
Yeah.
I always say they're like stand-up comedians. Not all comedians make you laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You put comedy on once and you think, well, that wasn't funny, I'll never laugh again. Yeah.
Absolutely.
They don't, and you've got to there's a lot of different kinds of therapy out there as well. And I always think, when you're suffering in your life, you don't know what you need. You don't know if say you've got a back pain, you don't know if you need a nerve specialist or an MSK or acupuncture or a massage. You don't know. Yeah. You are the expert in a way, but
Yeah.
You can't always. I wish they'd do a therapy triage service. I wish there was someone you could ring and say, I've got these problems. Like, oh yeah, you need CBT. You know,
Yeah, I know.
You need something like that, because it's hard for people to know.
It is. It's really hard. And obviously, you know, it's hard to access as well sometimes. So, but if you're looking for your own therapist, it's always good to get on a recommendation, or, you know, or just ask questions. You know, ask people, you know, how does she work? Does she, you know, does she just stay quiet? Does she talk? You know, just find out.
Yeah, kind of, you know, take the power of the, you know, this is your treatment for you. Make some decisions for that, and a good therapist will say, I can accommodate you, or I can't, or this isn't me, but I know someone who's a bit more like that.
That's right.
You know,
and that again, in a first session, when I talk to someone, or when I get them to fill out an intake form, that's one of the questions. You know, what are you expecting? What's your expectation of therapy?
Because I think a lot of people don't know that, you know, when you qualify as a counsellor and so on, you do a lot of work on ethics. So, you know, a good counsellor will try and work with you ethically, and part of that is to say, I'm not going to be able to help you with this.
Absolutely.
Or someone else will be better for you for this, you know. And it's part of the job description almost. You know, it's nothing to be uncomfortable or afraid of when you see a therapist. You have that conversation with them because they're kind of primed to have it. Yeah. You know, it's part of the job, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And I've actually had that a couple of times. I've had, well, one in particular that I can remember, and I hadn't been working privately for a long time. And it was a bit of a knock, to be honest, for me. But I had, because other counsellors will come for therapy too.
Yes.
You know, and we all have to have supervision.
Yes.
You know, about that. So we all have to see someone at least once a month, so that, you know, we're sorting out how we are mentally. So so other counsellors will invariably come along. So I hadn't been doing it for very long, and one lady came to me, and for the first time I greeted her at the door. I showed her to my office, gave her the form to fill in, the little intake form, and said, while you're doing that, would you like a cup of tea? And she said, yeah, okay. And she had the tea, and then came back in. We had the session, and then after we'd finished, I said, you know, do you feel comfortable with me? Would you like to make another appointment? Would you? And she said, no, actually. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Why is that? And she said, because I'm a counsellor, and that was the first time that she'd told me that. I said, okay, you know, that's great, but you know, what is it that you don't feel comfortable with? And she said, well, I would never offer anyone a cup of tea.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And she said, you know, it just shows that you haven't got good boundaries, and
wow,
I wouldn't.
That's a bit much.
I wouldn't want to work with you. I was like, well, actually, you know, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
but,
that's okay.
You know, if you're saying that
a tea is a boundary,
having a cup of tea and trying to make someone feel comfortable. Because it's you know, it's a great icebreaker, and if you've got that, you know, we're doing it now. A cup of tea between you, you can have a good chat.
Absolutely, you know? Absolutely.
And you know, then obviously I'm not for you.
Yeah.
So
totally.
I was very professional in what I said to her, and that was it. And we, you know, we went off
two different ways of working. Fair enough.
Two different ways of working, but it really did knock me.
Oh gosh, yeah, I would have carried that a little bit as well, I think. Because it doesn't feel like that's a boundary.
No,
like,
but then,
I can't see a...
So then after that, I sort of processed it and thought, well, if I was going to someone and they were really boundaried, and you sit there and, you know, you're the client, I'm the therapist, and this is the way we're going to do it. It wouldn't work for me.
Wouldn't work for you, you'd feel uncomfortable.
It wouldn't work for me. So again, it's about finding what works for you.
The right fit.
And so even, you know, it knocked me at the time, but now I realise horses for courses.
Absolutely, yeah,
So
exactly. And that's the
fine.
one, isn't it? You've got to find the right fit for you and what you would expect. And, you know, I don't see a boundary there, but obviously she did, and maybe she'd see boundaries in places I'd feel uncomfortable, or you would feel uncomfortable. Exactly, yeah.
So, you know, that's it.
I think it's interesting as well with supervision. A lot of people don't realise that about counsellors, that they're all getting counselling at the same time, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a hard process to go through, isn't it? The training.
Yeah.
Because as you're going through that, you're doing your own stuff, and all of your own shit comes up.
Yeah, it does. So, you're in the swamp with your galoshes on daily. Daily. Yeah.
I think that's another myth as well, is that all counsellors have got their own stuff well and truly sorted
out.
We're normal people like everyone else who have to, you know, face stuff on a daily basis and push through it. I mean, the good thing is you have done a lot of your own, you know, deep work, so you can normally process and move on quite quickly.
I think that's more comforting, though, you know, so if people understood that counsellors don't not have it together, but they have their own stuff going on and they've done the work, and what they want to do with you, the work they want you to do, they've done. They've had that therapeutic journey. They're just a lot further along on it, you know, and if you couldn't expect somebody to take you on a journey who hadn't walked the path themselves, you know. So I mean, I find that very comforting when I think about counsellors all kind of seeing each other and going, oh, you know, I've been very triggered about this. I'm like, yeah, brilliant, you know. Somebody who can work quickly through their own stuff makes me feel confident they'll be able to help me work through mine.
And, you know, of course you get that, and that's obviously why we have to do that at least once a month, because you could be talking to someone and something that's happened to them, or that you know, an experience they've had will trigger something that you've been through too. You know, so
you have to be ready to
go and talk about it.
Deal with that bubbling swamp that's just always in there. Get your galoshes on, down you go.
But if you're with someone who can, their nervous system can regulate in that moment, then usually you can, you know, the client senses that everything's okay. I find, like, the more comfortable I get with the counselling therapy type stuff journey, when I feel triggered, it's less of a more of a you know, like hello,
didn't know I was bothered about that. Apparently I got a thing about snakes today. You know, whatever. You know, all right then, that's unusual. You get quite comfortable with what your own sort of rhythm is, your internal pattern, your internal chatter. I can hear a panic attack coming in my own head, like, because I had them quite badly when I was about 21. It's like when I finished uni and I split up with a boyfriend at the time, and lots of things changed. I used to smoke a bit of the old recreational reefer, and I stopped at that point. And I think the combination of all of it at once gave me a really odd panic response, and I was having loads of panic attacks. I remember one day I counted about sort of 12 or 15. Really? I had a lot. Transport related, being at the house related. It was very crippling for a time. But anyway, I got quite good at dealing with that and stress. And now, at 34 almost, I can hear the conversation in my head start to take a turn. That's like the beginnings of that spiral. Like, I can see it coming quite a way off, you know, and kind of go and do some stuff to kind of get me out of the thought pattern. Because for me, it's very much a thought pattern that increases and increases and increases and increases until I'm paralysed by it. Suddenly, in a moment, And I think when you first start having panic attacks, you don't realise that you're doing it.
No, you don't. And most people think it's you know, it just happens. It's automatic. It just happens. It's not. I'm not thinking about anything. I haven't. You know, nothing's triggered it. But it all starts with a thought. Yeah, it does. But we don't notice, and that's the thing. It's about noticing and being able to do what you do now. Regulate yourself.
See that coming on the horizon. That little goblin on the horizon. You know. And I think that's a wonderful thing, an empowering thing as well. I think if other people that experience panic in that way. You know, sometimes you can see somebody, a therapist, counsellor, you know, about what's going on with you, and they may help you start spotting the goblin on the horizon. You know, it's a lot of work.
You know, it is, but it's understanding what those triggers are. You know, and why. You know, it's not just about your brain; it's about your nervous system too. So something that you know, and we talk about the body keeping a score. So if that thing that happened to you when you were 3 is in your blueprint, then something can trigger you back to that, and that's why people are like, you know, where did that come from? What you know, I don't know. Nothing made that happen, but something's made that happen.
It's in your survival
you're
response.
Being triggered. Yeah. So so it's about knowing that and being able to go, that's not about now. That's about ages ago. I'm fine. I am actually safe. Because that's what a panic attack is. It's your flight, fight or freeze. It's you being triggered and looking out for the danger. You know, we've all got that. And if we didn't have that, you know, we need it. It's dangerous.
We'd all be eaten by lions by now if we didn't have it's a pattern recognition often, isn't it? That you kind of encode a pattern. But you see it in a way that isn't useful at other times. You know, it's gone in and your body's gone, right, that's useful. We survived because we recognised that, you know, this loud pattern and this stripy pattern together meant danger, and now every time you see someone in a loud shirt sitting on a zebra couch, you're having a panic attack. You know, so you're kind of reworking that pattern, that encoded pattern, finding fear in it where it doesn't belong.
Exactly that. So so it's about understanding that too.
Is there any advice you could give to somebody who experienced panic attacks to kind of begin a journey of unpicking, you know, what might be going on? I think lots of people experience them and they just feel like they're, like you said, they're overcome. It's out of nowhere and it happens to them. They're at the mercy of it. Is there a way that, you know, somebody could begin a journey to flip that, take some of that power back?
It's very difficult if you're in the midst of it to say to someone, you know, calm down.
Don't ever tell someone with a panic attack to calm down.
Because it's you know, really, really difficult. But in those moments where you know that you're okay and you've got to do something about it, to be able to just go and talk about it and be able to unpick what is going on for you, and to learn some techniques to be able to bring yourself down and know that you're safe. But so unfortunately the mind gives you more of what's familiar, and if that's familiar to you and you think that you can't, there's nothing you can do about it, it's gonna escalate. So it's just realising that actually you are safe. There isn't a danger. It's just you're being triggered.
I found that my worst panic attack, I think, happened. We were trying to get a Eurostar, me and my friends, and we missed our Eurostar. And we'd been up late. I'd not had a lot of sleep and so on. And I just thought that I was going to die. And I just had to cry and cry and cry, and pant and feel all tingly and all of that, until I realised that nothing was going to happen. And eventually, usually I can control them a bit better, but this one I just had to let it run. You know, as one of my friends that has a similar kind of thing just sat with me. We went and found a corner to sit in. My other friends went and sorted out the tickets and what was going on, and she just had to let me go through it until I realised that nothing was going to happen.
That's really good advice, because it's, if you're trying to, the thing that you're trying to push down actually becomes bigger. So and that's what animals would do. So in the wild, if you ever watch any of those David Attenborough things, and you see a zebra being chased by a lion, so obviously they're in flight, they run, or they might lay down and pretend to be
play dead.
Yeah, so that's your freeze. And then maybe the lion will think there's something wrong because the animal's dead, so it'll go off. So it's all sort of based in that, you know. And but if you ever watched anyone, so then the zebra, when the danger's gone, the zebra would get up and then uncontrollably shake.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So then it would shake until it stopped shaking.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. Its nervous system's back to
Oh,
regulation.
right. Yeah, it's over, yeah.
Because otherwise, can you imagine living like that in fear all the time that you're going to be eaten? You'd never, you couldn't survive, could you?
Couldn't get anything
like
done.
So you'd be absolutely stuck in that.
Yeah.
So the natural response is to get rid of it, shake it off.
Right.
So when you get people, like you said, I had to just cry and I just had to
let it run.
Let it run. It's, I know you can't always do that, but normally if you're getting panic attacks at work or something, try to just take yourself off. Go into the loo or whatever and just
breathe through it. Just let it
or,
wash over
or
you.
Make
or
yourself
shake it out.
Shake and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because so if someone was in my office with me, sitting opposite me, I could actually talk to them, ask them to think about something, and they can make themselves have a panic attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've probably experienced that too. You
drive yourself to it.
You can think yourself into a panic attack. And usually if you do that with someone, they then know if you can control it, if you can do that, if you can bring it on,
create it,
you can create it, and actually you're in charge. You can actually stop it.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, like having it run through was really useful because I always had that memory of I knew it just went away. And at that point, I knew that it wasn't going to kill me, and that was a real thing. You always be like, oh, I just feel like I'm just going to die, just
no one's ever
hands
died of
tingling, heart racing. You find this is it. I'm having a heart attack. I'm just going to die right now. That's what your brain's going, woo, 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 and just to have gone through it all and to see it eventually stop. And it wasn't convenient. I'm not saying like,
exactly.
It was a great
we're not
experience.
Trying to trivialise
it
for anyone.
It was horrific. But having gone through it, I did know then after that it was okay eventually. I came back
and that's
out
the
other side.
Then it's easier, isn't it?
Yeah.
The next time.
The next time was easier.
It's easier because you can this isn't going to kill me. Yeah. I'm okay. And it is about repeating those words to yourself. I'm enough. I'm good. I'm calm. Everything's okay. Just keep doing that because your mind wants to go. You're in danger. You're not okay. You're going to miss that train. Yeah. Everything's going to be awful. You're going to get over that. You're going to be late for this, and then that's going to, and you just catastrophize. The whole time. So if you can get a hold of that and start turning that round to, I'm fine. I'm here now. I've got my friends around me. I feel like this, but I'm just going to cry, and it's all going to come out, and I'm going to be fine afterwards. And just try to do that. Give yourself more of that than the
other. Anchor yourself a little bit in something safe.
And that is it. Those anchoring things. People talk about anchoring, don't they? And 5 things that you can touch, see. I can't remember what. So I'm here. I'm touching the ground. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I can see. I've got my friends around me. I'm breathing. They're there. All of those sort of things.
Get you into the moment and not out of the spiral. I used to carry. I still do actually, because you never know. I carry either really strong menthol sweets or really strong mints on me, pretty much all the time. Because if I get panic, the beginnings of it, and it's always like the kind of, I feel like I can't breathe, chest feels really tight, my hands feel really tingly, and I've already had some nasty cyclic thoughts going on. And then what will happen to me is I'll get on the tube, and it's always the tube for me. It's travelling. Something about travelling just triggers me, snaps me. So I always have like really strong mints, really strong menthol sweets in my bag. And usually the strong flavour is enough to get me to kind of stop. It just kind of snaps me out of it a little bit. So I always recommend that to friends that have a bit of, I mean, it's not going to work if you've got very deep panic disorder. If you suffer from a bit of high anxiety around travel or certain things, something just to anchor you, like a strong flavour, it's quite good, especially menthol, because it opens up you feel like you can breathe. That stops the tight chested feeling a little bit, kind of
it's a really good
fights
idea.
That a little bit. I've used that forever. Fisherman's Friends, Halls, the black ones, the really strong ones, extra strong mints, something just to give you a bit of
great idea
in
actually.
the moment. It's quite handy.
But it's all those sort of things that you now, because at some level when you were calmer, you could rationalise that. You know that.
Yeah, it went
so,
in.
That's it, isn't it? It's about knowing yourself and being able to do that. Bring yourself out of something. And like I said before, you're in control. Everyone thinks that this thing up here is like, you're not in control of any of it. You are.
Yeah.
It is you.
Yeah.
So you're, you can bring it on. Yeah. You can stop it.
So take the power in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that is it. It's that, we've all got in us everything we need, but we don't always realise that.
We don't always have access to it. Yeah, we don't know. We lose the way to bring it out of yourself. And do you? So I mean, panic. Yeah, put my teeth back in. Panic attacks is one way that like anxiety can kind of manifest, or panic can manifest in your life. What other kind of things do you see frequently these days? Is there a lot of other things that are quite common with people with anxiety that you're seeing a lot of?
Yeah, there's a lot of social anxiety and a lot of which is sort of rooted in self-esteem problems, because there's so much comparison now, and with everyone not feeling good enough.
Do you think that's a big overexposure to what other people are doing kind of thing?
I do. Yeah, definitely. And lots of young people thinking they've got to be a certain way. It's horrible. And it's it can bring on crippling fear of doing anything, because I'm not as good as everyone else. It's horrible.
We were talking a little bit earlier before we got on camera about how when we were kind of growing up, you could do something and it wouldn't be filmed. Like I could get drunk, not saying that I ever did, but I could, when I was 15, get drunk in the park, pass out my own sick, and no one would have filmed me. And then when I'm 25, go, yeah, look at what Kelly did when she was 15, look at this, how hilarious. And like that, I could never leave that scenario. Like for me, if I did anything like that, it's buried, it's gone. Probably my friends don't even remember. I don't even remember if I did anything like that, but for like people, my niece and nephew's generation, they're all about 18. For them, it's like, you slip up,
I know,
it's on your permanent record.
Yeah, and it's horrible. And it's the same with, bullying. When I was at school, if it was happening, you'd get home and you were nice and safe.
You shut the door.
Didn't have to think about it again until the next day maybe. But you knew that you were safe. But now you just can't get away from it, because it's online. It's it's horrible.
Do you have any tips for how people can start kind of fending this off a little bit if you're feeling very
just
anxious?
Knowing actually that you are enough. What your self-worth isn't in what your eyebrows look like, or if you've got bigger lips or bigger boobs, or it's just about you knowing that actually you're good enough. It's horrible. I don't know. It's just hard. It's really hard for young people now, I think, because of this comparison all the time. And in your face, you need to look like this. You need to do this. If you're not earning this much money, then you're a failure. It's not true.
No. And often, like, the things you're comparing yourself to aren't true.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're comparing yourself to somebody's, true day-to-day life. You're comparing yourself to them at their best moment.
Yeah.
One in...
Yeah, most people are not putting their grotty pictures on Instagram, are they?
They're not putting up their hangover photos where they feel riddled with anxiety, and wondering what they've said or done and if they're worth anything. They're not showing you that.
Yeah.
They're showing you, oh, look at me, I'm at this party and it's wonderful and everyone's here,
Yeah. And, the other thing to remember is most people are, if you're feeling it, most people are feeling that.
Yeah.
So, I can remember actually being, not having a very good self-esteem and walking into a room and do I look okay? Am I all right? I don't know what to say. Everyone's looking at me. They're not.
No.
They're not. They're all doing that themselves.
They're too busy wondering if you're looking at them.
They don't give a rat's ass about what's going on for you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, it's remembering that as well.
Yeah.
Really.
Put a little flag in the ground there and say, I know I'm thinking it, but they probably are too. Yeah. Adjust that story that you tell yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the story.
Yeah, it's all a story that's going on in here, in your head, and that can be edited to serve you better.
Absolutely, And most things are the other side of fear. So whatever you want to do, you're going to have to get over that initial fear
through that barrier. Yeah, absolutely.
So and the other thing is just think about what's going on for you now, not something that happened in the past where you felt less than. That's then, it's gone, and not something you're worrying about. What's it going to be like over there? Try and bring yourself back to right here and now.
The moment.
I'm okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being present in the moment's a wonderful thing, and a thing we have to work a little harder every year to get hold of. I think as a kind of technology becomes more distracting. I noticed the other day, because I've put these video adverts on the escalators in the tube, and I was trying to put my head down and blinker them out because they were kind of pulling my eye, and I was like, as if I can't go up an escalator without something trying to pull me out of my thoughts. When do we get our deep work done? If we're constantly getting flickers.
But that's it. I don't think really we were designed for the amount of stuff we have to process.
Definitely.
It's so fast paced life now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's stuff coming at you from every angle. So it's quite hard to centre yourself and just be in the moment.
Especially when a lot of that stuff is meant to make you feel a little off centre, because they want you to buy something often. I mean, advertising, the best way they sell you things is to make you feel like you're missing something, so you buy the thing to fill the gap. So all those little distractions are often trying to make you not feel great. They're not saying you're worth it, you're 100%, you're everything you need. They're saying you're not enough, buy this thing and then feel enough, but you'll never feel enough because you're buying this thing. The whole world is kind of tipping the scale against feeling complete a little bit, well, not the whole world, but this kind of capitalist kind of buy thing is designed to make us feel a little hollow and not enough.
Absolutely. It is. So that's it. So try and bring yourself back to actually, I'm all right
right now.
I'm right now
in this moment
I'm okay,
I'm breathing, feet are on the ground and I'm breathing. I've got a little postcard in my office that says worry is a misuse of your imagination. Which is so true, isn't it? Absolutely. I like that.
It really is. Because often we're worrying about something that's actually not happened. Or probably won't.
Exactly. I said this recently. My partner was talking about a conversation he had to have, and he was kind of going back and forward about, well, if I say this and then they'll say this, or then I'll say this, and then he woke up in the middle of the night kind of doing it, and I was like, babe, none of these conversations have happened and they won't happen. And when the conversation happens, it won't be any of the conversations you've imagined, because it needs the other person's input. Like, you're not the other person. You're never going to know what they could just cluck. You could say something, so they could just start clucking. You might not imagine it, but they might do it. You don't know. Like, you just have to put those kinds of worries. Yeah. Just put them down.
It's like doing this, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, obviously, I don't do this every day, so you feel a bit anxious about it as you come in. But like you say, you can't rehearse it, because this is a conversation. Yeah. And it's organic. Yeah. So you just have to kind of just go with it.
Be in it. Yeah. You just have to be in it. Yeah. Like, you never know what you're going to say. I never know what, if I have a, conversation podcast with anybody, I never know what's going to get said. I mean, I cross my fingers. hope it stays on track. I was thinking the other day, I did one with my friend Fran, and we were talking about working out, and I started talking about this podcast that I listen to that's all about serial killers. I'm like, thinking about it the next day, like, why was I talking about that? Where did that come from? If you'd asked me the night before, if I'd been laying in bed imagining how that podcast was going to go, I would have never imagined that I would have brought up some other thing that I was listening to. Makes me sound like, I'm terribly dark human. Yeah. You can't see it coming, can you? No. You just have to kind of ride that a little bit. Yeah. It's true though. Worry is an awful use of your imagination,
isn't it? Just
it really is,
because you can imagine such brilliant things,
bold things,
wonderful things happening, but you worry about what could go wrong.
Trashing yourself.
Yeah. Actually, that's another one. I've got loads of them. Yeah. But my friend sent me a thing once when I left the NHS and decided to go privately. I was like, what if I never make any money and I can't pay the bills, and what if this? And getting paid NHS money for being a support worker is pretty bad. So I don't know, it wasn't like I was aspiring to being a millionaire. I just needed to pay the bills. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Don't know. What if I fail? And my friend sent me a little quote that said, "But oh my darling, what if you fly?" Yeah. That's, and it's the same, isn't it? It's you're scared of what might go wrong, but don't look at what if it doesn't? What if it goes right? Yeah. How right could it go? Yeah. I mean, it could go right that you do a bit of good work and benefit a few people. It could go right that you sell a book. You write a book and it changes the lives of millions. I mean, how many candles could you light off your one flame? I mean, how far could that go? Yeah, but invariably, we don't think that way.
We default to trash talking.
We're not actually hardwired that way. No. Our mind, its job is to keep us safe, not to keep us happy.
Risk adverse.
That's what happens. Yeah. But like I said at the beginning, your mind gives you more of what's familiar. So if you make that familiar,
your kind of this could mantra,
this could be really good. I'm going for this.
You could drive yourself. I mean, a huge percent of reality is how you perceive it. Data going in is quite sort of minimal compared to what's going on up here. How we're reading it, how we're perceiving it, what it means to us.
So what label are you giving something? Yeah. So that that when you're in a panic, that anxiety, that apprehension, same feeling actually as being really excited about something.
Yes, it's true. Isn't it? It's so true. Yes.
So it's up to you what label you give it to.
I've recently been playing with that. Because doing this is a constant get out of your comfort zone, push yourself. Every day is a push. Every day is a big reveal. Every day is a vulnerability hangover. And trying to read that as like, I'm trying to do something I want to do, and I'm excited and I'm not dreadful, woeful. It's like, I even because I used to perform and stuff, even that pre-show anxiety, stage fright, you have to pull it around and be like, I'm excited to do this. I'm excited to do this show. Exactly. Read it differently if you can. You can convince yourself,
If you can do that, then you've cracked it, haven't you?
Cracked it open,
Because it's exactly the same feeling.
Change what it means to you. Your stomach feels tingly and you feel a bit sick and you might need a poo. I mean, it feels the same to everybody.
Exactly. Wow, I'm really excited.
This is excitement. It's like roller coasters, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, they're terrifying, but they're wonderful and they're exhilarating, and it's that same thing of that.
another analogy I use.
Yeah.
Life is a roller coaster.
Yeah, sure
it is.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're doing that, you come up again, and that bit's good.
Yeah. And you've got to better be living it, better be on it than standing there.
Yeah.
Not taking part. Is it? We were talking about Brene Brown, both big fans.
Yeah.
Earlier about daring greatly.
Yeah. Vulnerability.
Yeah. Massive. She changed my life actually in a big way.
Yeah. I'd say the same actually. Yeah. Because you do. Yeah. Vulnerability is horrible to lay yourself bare sometimes, but you know, if you do, you get some good stuff back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always thought it made me feel like if my vulnerabilities, things that I might call weaknesses or soft spots, can be laid out and become strengths, then every bit of me is working, is useful, is interesting, is available, is strong. Yeah. You know, where there's no bits of me that I have to feel ashamed of and hide. Throw them out there. More grist to the mill, more more strings to the bow. Similarly, Ben Dean was talking, when he was talking about recovery, and someone who's talking about all your demons, you know, and they're kind of causing you to, you're behaving a certain way because perhaps your realm of demons, as it were. But if you can see what they are, make them work for you. Absolutely. Sit in your own Godhead, be in charge of your demons. They are yours, and you make them serve you. Yeah, then
that's the same as I was saying earlier. You know, this can work for you, not against you. Yeah, it's ours.
Yeah, it's upstairs. It's ours. We keep that. Yeah,
it's you make it work for you. Yeah, and it's and that's the same as turning that feeling around, giving it a different label, isn't it? Yeah. So. It's just knowing that actually we are in charge. Yeah,
and it's the only thing we are in charge of, because you know, you're not in charge of anybody else, are you? Like, forget changing how other people feel or making them do something differently. Yeah, the only thing you got is what you do and how you see it. Yeah. So take charge of that.
And that's basically what therapy is. Yeah, you know, we're not doing it to you. Yeah, we're not making you be a different way. We're facilitating the opportunity for you to change,
find new ways. Absolutely. I think that's a really good point about therapy actually, is most people don't realise that they think therapists are going to do something to them or make them do something, or they're going to say this and they're going to tell me it's this and I know it isn't that, and it's like, therapists aren't going to tell you anything. Like, really, you're gonna tell you stuff. They're going to help you. They're going to help you tell yourself stuff. You know, I was very surprised the first time I had counselling, because I honestly had that conversation with myself about 900 times. She's going to say this and I think it's going to be this, and she's going to tell me I have to confess to all this stuff that I have to make peace with all, you know, I don't want to do that. That's a load of shit. You know, it's none of it. I couldn't have been more wrong. In what I thought was going to happen. No,
it's just allowing you to realise what's going on for you and change it.
Yeah. See it.
If you want to change it.
Yeah.
Because you can.
And that's the thing, they're not going to make you. It's if you want to. Even if you highlight the whole thing and you see all this stuff, they're not going to go, right now you have to here's your worksheets, off you go. Well, maybe if you're doing CBT, they might give you a worksheet. CBT is kind of a more homework based kind of therapy. Yeah. But other than that, the talking therapies will be a bit like, okay, well, if you want to change it, there's a way. Or
And then that's it. And even in the hypnotherapy, even in RTT, you do have to do a bit of work, because you have to listen to a recording for at least 21 days, at least. I say a bit longer actually, but at least 21 days, because if, like I say, your mind's giving you more of what's familiar, and if it's giving you that, you know, you're scared, you're not good enough, all of that's going to go on. So to do the work and then wire in a new way of thinking, a new, you know, being good to yourself, saying nicer things to yourself, you have to make that your new habit. Yeah. So you do have to do a bit of work, but you're doing it. Yeah, it's your work.
You choose. And you do it.
If you want to. Yeah. Yeah. It's not about someone making you do anything you don't want to do.
So I think if I took one take home from our conversation, is you have the power.
Absolutely.
You know, be empowered. Yeah. It's all in you. Yeah. It's all in you.
It really is. It really is.
Well, thanks so much, Deb. I've really enjoyed it. It's been lovely having you.
It's been really nice.
Hopefully,
again.
Yeah, it's been
See?
wonderful.
Felt the fear, did it anyway.
Yeah, daring greatly. Faces muddied in the arena and all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you guys listening want to reach out with any questions about therapy, or you want to ask Deb some questions or whatever like that, I'll put some links in, obviously.
Great.
And you can reach out to us and tweet us and whatnot. So
Fantastic.
cool. Thanks for joining us, Deb. Wonderful.
Bye.
And that was episode 10 of the Punk Rock Health Podcast. Fear, Anxiety and Therapy with Debbie Carrol. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to reach out to Debbie for counselling, hypnotherapy or RTT, you can find all her information on her website, which is www.dccounselingandhypnotherapy.com. She's also on Instagram at DC Counselling and Hypnotherapy. If you'd like to reach out to me at Punk Rock Health or listen to more podcasts from us, check out our website, which is www.punkrockhealth.co.uk. And you can find us on Instagram at punkrock_health. If you're listening on YouTube, please do subscribe. It really helps us out. And don't forget to favourite us wherever you get your podcasts from. The Punk Rock Health podcast is brought to you by punkrockhealth.co.uk, a small independent health and wellness business with a punk rock attitude. You can support us by checking out our online store, following us on Instagram or Facebook, and listening to our podcasts wherever you find your podcasts. Thanks for listening.